Today is special. Superdad stands over Supermum as she lays in a Super Krypton bed and is about to give birth to Super Baby. Only today there are no baby catchers. There are no doctors and nurses. There is only the crumbling of the world around them, flying off to safety in their spaceships. There are bangs in the distance. There are cries and shouts and planes and pods shooting out into the sky. All around them is fire and brimstone and destruction and death. And Supermum lies on this superbed with her super legs open. And Superdad crouches and tells her to breathe. And as he tells her to breathe, she does. She breathes deep and feels this movement in her super tummy, and eventually it happens, and with a scream of joy and pain and fear and life and zest, Super Baby flies out of his mother's vagina, and Superdad jumps up to catch her just as the walls of the house start to fall. There is no time. An escape pod hovers just outside the window waiting. Superdad grabs Superman and throws him in, and as he turns to grab his super wife, one half of the wall falls down and the bed goes with it. Superdad grabs onto one side of the pod as it hovers in the air whilst the building crumbles around him. With the other hand, he grabs his wife. She's gonna fall to her death. He's weak, he's tired, she's tired, and she slips and it looks like she's going and it's only fingers, and then he musters every ounce of his super strength and he pulls her up. He grabs her wrist and holds her into the pods, and they fly. And just as they reach the end of the atmosphere, Krypton explodes into thunder and rage and fury and death and destruction, and the super family are away into the starry night sky, away from the wars of Krypton, away from the mutual description, and towards a quiet life. And that's why they land here. In Earth, in this town, the most normal of normal towns, the most nothing and everything of all places. The Supers changed their name to the Kents, and they live on Mornington Close at number 47, and nothing much happens. They just grow older. They remain inconspicuous. She gets a job at the newsagents. He works at the mechanics, and they don't seem like they're not from here. Well, they look like us, and everything's fine until Superman, or Clark as he's called now, is 11, and he gets his first pube. And as the pubes start bursting through his skin, Clark gets stronger. And one night he's looking at pictures on Facebook of the party that he doesn't get invited to, and the girls that don't pay him attention, and he gets angry. And he gets angry and his skin starts to boil like a kettle, and it gets angrier and angrier and angrier until he explodes and he's scared. And out of his eyes shoot these red beams, and the red beams smash open the walls, and the walls are exposed and he's scared. Then he closes his eyes and his dad runs up. It's Super Dad, but he's not super now, he's just Dad, and he holds his son in his arms. Superman is too afraid to open his eyes in case these red beams shoot out, and his dad holds him until he calms him down. And as he does, he has a million questions. He asks his dad who he is. His dad tells him. He tells him everything. He tells him he can't tell anyone, and he has to pretend that he's normal. He has to forget about all of this and bury it deep down inside of him and pretend that that's normal. To control the redness, he has to never, ever feel anything. And that's what Superman grows up to do. To never feel. And eventually he thinks he's made this all up. And he becomes dead inside. And he does. For a while.